My name's Kate. I'm the owner and creator of Kate&Barrel Designs in Tucson, Arizona. I am a Weisel retailer and a ReDesign by Prima retailer, as well as a Klingon brush retailer. So today, what I wanted to do is I actually showed a picture of this to my students in my online support group, and they begged me for a video on it. So I thought it would be really cool to do an entire video kind of for everybody to see exactly how you can create this on your own. So basically what this is it's screen. So just screen that I purchased off of Amazon. This is a transfer by ReDesign by Prima. And then this is just, these were leftover wood pieces that I had from a desk actually that I had kind of demoed. I built a farmhouse desk, then I decided years later I didn't want it anymore, so I demoed it. So these were kind of just leftover. So today I'm not going to use leftover pieces. We're actually going to use actual, I think these are 1x2s that we're going to be using. And then I'll show you how to assemble, put the screen on and all that good stuff and do the transfer. So it's a really cool, fun, kind of decorative piece. You can see it see-through because it's a screen, so that's really cool. Kind of shabby chic-esque, depending on kind of how you want to do it, but super fun way to kind of do something different and creative, decorative for your home. So, and actually these would make awesome gifts if the holiday season is coming up. So, all right, so I'm gonna actually stick this back down here so it's completely out of the way and I don't knock it over. So things that you will need. I have already pre-cut my frame basically. So I have decided to go a little bit smaller than I did on the frame that I just showed you guys. So this is actually, these are both 15 inches and these are 18 inches. Okay, so this will be the long side and then these will insert, so it'll make it kind of a little bit wider than the 15. It'll make it about 17 inches wide. So it'll be approximately a 17 by 18 kind of framed decorative piece. You're gonna need scissors. You will need measuring tape if you're gonna pre-cut these. Like I said, I've already pre-cut them and have them ready to go. Sanded them down lightly so they're a little smooth. We'll be painting them as well and then assembling them. So that'll work out really well for us. So I utilize, for my assembly, I have the Ryobi Airstrike guns. So I have the staple gun and then I also have the nail gun. So I utilize both of these. These are so awesome because they eliminate the need for a compressor and you can just use your 18-volt lithium battery and you're good to go. Sorry, you can see the lights are on this one. So I pressed the button. So that's kind of what I use for assembly. And then you're gonna wanna use a transfer, okay? So the transfer that I used on the other piece was actually from Bike Rides, which is really cool because it gives you 4 different transfers. I'll show that to you guys. So I have used kind of the one with the flower, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and I think today with you guys, I'm going to, let's see, so there's the clock and the bee. That's really cool. I think that's a little bit bigger than I want though. I think I was gonna go with this one, this bottom one right here, which is gonna be interesting because it is definitely a full-on transfer. So even the background is part of the transfer. So I'm actually gonna just pre-cut that out really quick. And it's awesome because we have grid lines here. So I'm just gonna cut along this grid line right here. My scissors, pop those down. So there, I've got my transfer. This is the one I'm gonna use today with you guys, okay? So then I've got 2 transfers that I get to put away and either use for different projects or use for maybe more wall pieces or things like that that I'm gonna end up doing. Just kind of depends on how that. Got my transfers back in there too. Got my transfer that I'm gonna use set aside. And then this is a screen. There's a ton of it. It's not metal, it's a plastic kind of screen. The metal would probably prove to be very difficult. So you can get this on Amazon. I'll put the link in the comments. So it's a really nice size. You can use it for a lot of different projects. So we are gonna have to measure out exactly what size screen we wanna utilize. I think I'm gonna wait until we get everything assembled before I cut my screen though, because I wanna make sure that I've got the right sizing going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and paint our frame to get started. Okay, I'm just gonna go with Snow Owl, which is the whitest white that you can go with from Wise Owl Paints. And I'm just gonna grab, what brush do I want? Just gonna grab my 035. It's a really nice oval size. And I'm just gonna paint one coat on that side. I live in Arizona, which I mentioned, so things dry super fast here. And I kind of only want one coat because it's gonna give it that kind of unfinished / finished look to it, if that makes sense. So you're still gonna see some of the wood grain coming through. So it's gonna be a little bit more opaque, which is nice. So it's not gonna be just a solid white. If you wanted a more natural look and you didn't wanna paint your frame, you don't have to. You could do a black frame, you could do a blue frame, you could do a pink frame. I mean, lots of different options, right? So you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do with your frames and the colors, depending on the transfers that you're using, your color scheme, where you're going to be hanging them, all that good stuff. Okay, so those are done. I'm gonna set my brush off to the side. I really don't need that anymore. Grab a towel really quick and just make sure my hands are dry. Don't have wet paint on them. There you go. Okay, put this off to the side. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to actually assemble my piece. So I already know that I am going to have this be my lengthwise, right? And then these are going to sit inside, okay? So this is actually going to sit inside and butt up against here, okay? And then same thing is going to happen on this side. Just like so, okay? If you wanted to be super perfect and make sure you had all right angles, you could get your triangle out and measure and do all that good stuff. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Okay, so this is my nail gun, not my staple gun. So super easy to put everything in there, okay? So basically, I've got this lined up. I'm gonna move my staple gun out of the way. I've got this lined up right here. So I'm just gonna start by kind of getting one, and it's loud, just so you guys know, in there, okay? So I've got that in there, and then I'm going to line up on this side. So then I can go ahead and just kind of flip this now that I've got everything kind of lined up the way I want it to be. There we go. In there. So my frame, unfortunately, is not perfectly flat or perfectly anything, because this is, you know, wood that had a little warping to it and things like that. But for the frame, it's gonna work out fine. And once it's up on the wall and everything, it'll be perfect, okay? So, all right. So after that's done, now we need to start looking at the screen, right? Okay, so I've got my screen right here. I'm gonna undo it. And this is a good kind of spot to look. You want the screen is gonna end up overlapping along the edges, right? Because you're gonna connect to the edges right here, okay? So you're gonna have it right about there, and you will end up pulling it really tight. So I'm just gonna kind of do a makeshift cut. So along here, and then along here. So it might be a little bit wider and longer than I need it to be. Well, height is actually probably okay. Probably just a little bit wider than I need it to be, but it'll work out, okay? So I can just go ahead and kind of shave down a little bit over here. So this is where now I'm going to have to utilize the staple gun, okay? Just going to fold this up. So at least I have tons of screen left, right? So I kind of look at this as almost upholstering a little bit. Like I start with making sure the middle's tight, and then kind of work my way around. So, or the top's tight, both are tight on the top, and then you kind of work your way around. So it's kind of however you want to look at it, but I like to make sure, okay, like this is 100% taut and tight across here, because you're gonna constantly be pulling and making sure everything stays nice and tight. So you're gonna kind of line it up, make sure you've got, you know, some edging going all the way around. So we will start with this side, kind of in the middle. And this is my nail gun. Okay. And if you don't have an electronic one like this, you can utilize a hand one, that's fine. This just really gets it in there. So, actually gonna just line up another one right here. So I've kind of got 3 in there now. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is just kind of pull really tight and even as much as I can, right? There, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and flip. No, I'll end up cutting it. There we go. Okay. Obviously can't hold on to that. There we go. Okay. So then now I want to get, this is pretty tight right here, but it's not tight here. And I'm going to pull this side first because this side has less to play with. So I'm actually going to line this up first. As I staple, remember I'm pulling and then I'm stapling. Also, if you guys have dogs, my dog hates the staple gun, so he's been put away. He freaks out at the sound of this, so just a heads up. If you have animals, they may end up not enjoying this at all, so. So this is my last side. So I'm going a little bit closer. I'm just making sure I'm pulling really taut. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is that if you are at like home, say you don't have a miter saw, because I make my cuts with my miter saw. So Home Depot will make cuts for you as well if you ask them. Sometimes you have to pay for cuts, but most of the time they'll do a few for you just for free. I'm sure Lowe's is the same way. So that's pretty tight. It's not 100% even, like I can feel a few little ridges, and like I can go back and, you know, pull here if I need to on the other side, which is fine. I probably will end up doing that. Especially because like over here, you know, I've got a few I can pull. A little tighter, right? pretty, I mean, it's pretty tight, okay? So it may loosen a little bit once you start doing your transfer, because you're gonna be pushing on it, but it won't be so bad. So I'm gonna go and just kind of trim up this edge right here though. Because remember I said I was gonna have one that was gonna be a little too long on that side. So that's that edge right there. A little bit. Here. Remember, this is going to be hanging, so nobody's going to really see the back. You could put something on the back of it, but really, what's the point? Like, you want it to be able to, there you go. Okay, so there's a screen. It's on there, nice and tight. So then what I need to do is figure out exactly where my transfer is going to go, okay? So this is cut pretty evenly. I'm going to actually just take a little bit off of here. There you go. Okay. And then you just kind of want to, I'm an eyeballer. I don't usually measure really specifically. I usually eyeball if it's off just a little bit. It's not a massive, massive deal. But basically, you know, I'm just looking and going, okay, like position wise, this is kind of in the center, right? And so this is where I want it. Okay. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take the transfer off of the backing. Okay, actually, you know what, before I do that, I want to show you one thing. Okay, so remember that I said, let's see, what was my measurement on this one? I said this was, okay, so it's 16 and a half. So if I go like 18 or 8 inches and a quarter, right? That's gonna be right about here, which is gonna be my center, okay? And then, whoop. Oh, I'm all about dropping things today. And then if I do same thing here, about 8 inches and a quarter, just gonna put a nail mark there. And then that kind of gives me an idea where I want to line up my center too, right? So the center grid right here is going to be kind of where I want to line up. Right here and right here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Go. Just make sure it's straight as can be. All right, and then I'm just gonna press down. So here's the thing with this part of the transfer. Sometimes transfers are hard to get off in general. Transfers on a screen are actually pretty difficult to get off, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm actually gonna use my tool, my transfer rubbing tool. These are available on my website. So the transfers come with like a wooden tool as well, just a wooden stick to rub the transfer off. I really like this. It's really durable. I've actually pressed so hard where I've snapped the sticks, so this is pretty good. So I like to start at a corner, okay, and kind of work my way and just press down on this corner and hopefully get it to release. So like I said, you're really gonna have to work it in there to get this transfer to to wanna stick and let go. Okay. And it's doing pretty well. I'm actually gonna adjust the camera and bring you guys in a little bit more. If you guys can see that a little bit better. Just fix that for you. Sorry. You're like lopsided. There you go. Okay. So if you guys can see, hopefully, see how I'm lifting up this edge? So that part of the transfer has released. Ta-da! Here you have it. So this one's a little bit different, like I said, because it's got a full transfer. So the whole entire thing, this is one full like rectangular transfer, right? So with that being said, it's gonna have a different effect than this, which had more open spots, right? So it depends on the type of transfer you're using, the look you're going for. I think this is super cute. I think it would be so fun to put these on walls kind of next to each other, right? You could do a whole entire series of 4, which would be so fun. Let's see, some other transfers that would lend themselves to really doing something like this. Actually, the new lighthouse transfer would be perfect. It would be a really big piece. And then you could do some butterflies, you could do some florals. There's just so many different things that you could do. Let me just go ahead and move this up so you guys can see a little better. So hopefully that explains everything on how you can kind of get this fun transfer screen look. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. For products, you can purchase any of the products used today, minus the wood and the screen and things like that, on my website, Kate&Barreldesigns.com. I'll put that in the link. So the link, the information will have all the links to buy products, get everything you need possibly for the project Home Depot, Lowe's, scrap wood, any of those awesome things. You could totally do it with trim, molding trim if you wanted to, if you wanted something more decorative, and do something a little bit more blingy with some glazes. If you wanted a little bit less, just a plain white frame. Like I said, you could do a black frame. You could do, for that kind of dramatic look and feel, you could go with a black frame. You could do blue, pink, purple. I mean, the world is your oyster. This is just kind of a way to get you guys started, to say, hey, this is how you do it. Now go play and have fun and show me what you got, because I'm sure you can come up with some way cooler things to do with this and some really neat ideas. If you want to hang it on the wall, you just need to add in the little hanger jobbies. You can get those at Michael's, Home Depot, Lowe's, Joann's Fabric, any kind of like craft store, hardware store, Ace Hardware. All of those places will have like the little jobbies that you can just go ahead and hang them up on the wall. So anyways, until next time, you guys, my name's Kate, and I am the owner and creator of Kate&Barrel Designs in Tucson, Arizona. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.